In this video, I'm going to get into how to develop an abundance mindset. Here's a quick overview of what I'm going to cover in this video. First, I'm going to get into what is an abundance mindset. What does it even mean? Then I'll talk a little bit about how to go from scarcity, which is the opposite of abundance, to abundance, and ultimately how to cultivate that abundance mindset over time. Let's go. So first, let's talk about what is an abundance mindset. What does that even mean? You might think, like many people, like I used to think, that abundance is a state of being or an end state. Like when I have enough money, then I'll be abundant. Or even when I have more time, then I'll be abundant in time. But the truth is that abundance is really a mindset. It's a way of being. And even more deeply, it's actually an energy. It's an energetic that you run in your system. You can have all the money in the world, and this happens all the time, and still live in a scarcity mindset. You can still feel scarce, like you have to hoard things and hang on really tightly to things. And so abundance is really a way of being, a way of thinking, a way of showing up in the world. And as you be and think and show up in this way, what ends up happening is more abundance, right? What you end up creating and cultivating in yourself is the feelings of abundance. And then naturally, what happens is you start to experience more abundance. You get more abundant opportunities, and your whole life starts to change. But it's really one of these things where it changes from the inside out, not from the outside in. One of my mentors, Nani Leah Diamond, you've probably heard me talk about her a lot. She says that the energy from which you create guides and determines the energy of what you create. And what that means is that in order to have an abundant mindset, we need to cultivate the energy of abundance. Here's a quick story about what that looks like. One of my other mentors, Jake Merriman, I've talked about him before too. He says that he was talking with his mentor, and he was asking his mentor about abundance and how to have more abundance and how to have more of an abundant mindset. Well, the mentor said to Jake, he said, well, look at what you're wearing right now. Jake looked down. He's like, what? He said, is that very abundant? Does that outfit, what you're wearing feel abundant? And Jake was wearing a sweatsuit or some jeans, nothing special. And he said, actually, no. And so his coach said, well, what would make you feel abundant, right? What could you wear that would cultivate the feeling of abundance? And so Jake went shopping and bought some new threads. And he said that what he was wearing helped him cultivate the feeling of abundance. And that was like a practice that he carried forward, and he still, to this day, he dresses really, really cool. And he does that because it's, for him, it helps him cultivate the feeling of abundance. So how can you cultivate the feelings of abundance, right? I have 4 things that you can do to ongoingly in your life cultivate abundance so that you can run the energy of abundance through your system on a daily basis and ultimately experience more abundance in the present moment, as well as attract even more abundance into your life. Now, before I get into these 4 things you can do, I want to invite you to like this video, subscribe to my channel, maybe throw a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing, who you are. Tell me a little bit about your abundance story. So the first thing, and probably the absolute best thing, if you just did this would be big. This would make a big, big difference. And it's, for me, been the hardest thing, okay? Cultivate gratitude. When we live in gratitude, that is the most aligned energy with abundance. Gratitude implies that you are already abundant. When you focus on what you have in your life in this moment, you can start to cultivate way more abundance. Now, here's the thing about gratitude though, okay? And it might take a little while. It did for me. For myself, I'll share a quick story. Gratitude was something that I experienced maybe once or twice a year. And it was because, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a time when you're supposed to feel gratitude. So you take time out, you cook this amazing dinner, and at least in my family, right before dinner, somebody leads a prayer of gratitude. And that was pretty much the extent of my gratitude practice. Isn't that crazy? I know some of you are like, what? Yes, once a year, slow down, pray, oh yeah, I'm grateful. And the way I was grateful was, oh, I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I'm grateful there's food on this table. I'm grateful I got my family, right? I was grateful for all of these things. So there were circumstances that my gratitude was contingent upon. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. You definitely want to be grateful for those types of things, and I certainly was, but that's just the beginning of cultivating gratitude. Really advanced level gratitude practice is to just cultivate gratitude without having it be contingent upon some circumstance. And that's where it takes practice. For me, I had to start with the things that I was grateful for. And every morning I started a gratitude practice. I would journal what I was grateful for, and then I would sit down and with my hand on my heart, I would just feel the gratitude and start to cultivate the feelings of gratitude. When you start to run the energy of gratitude through your body, it opens your heart naturally, and that's abundance. That is what abundance is to feel grateful, to feel like you have enough. And the more gratitude you feel for what you already have, the more feelings of enoughness are running through your whole system. So the cultivation of gratitude, which may be very challenging, especially if you've never done it before, is, in my opinion, the number one most important thing to start with. Now, the second thing that you can do is kind of related to Jake's story, is to act abundant. To make decisions that help you feel more abundant. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. Maybe Jake may have spent a lot of money on those threads, but he didn't have to. He just needed to put something on that made him feel abundant. So I'm going to share a little secret with you. When I wear flowy things, I feel more abundant. Don't ask me why. But when I wear tight, constricting things, I don't feel abundant. But when I wear loose, flowy things that move when I walk and spin when I dance, that feels abundant to me. So what is it that feels abundant to you? What could you wear, right? What could you eat? What could you drink that feels abundant? Like if you're a wine drinker, right? I don't know about you, but I used to drink a lot of wine. I don't anymore. But back then, I would go to the list and I would always pick the cheapest wine or the next to cheapest wine. Well, what would it be like if I spent another $10 on the wine? Or $20, right? Would that might make me feel more abundant? Just making choices that help you align to an energetic of more abundance. Another way that you might do that is really simple. When you choose your Uber, right? You've got your regular Uber and then you've got your Lux Uber. It's maybe $3 more or $4 more, right? Maybe it makes you feel abundance to ride in style. It's different for each person there, and I'm not here to judge what helps you feel abundant. The third thing to do is to celebrate abundance. Like when you do get a check, right? When you do get paid, to really celebrate that. Now, I remember when I have all these clients and they pay me every single month and it's wonderful. But for the longest time, I would just kind of see those payments come in at the 1st or the 15th of the month and be like, oh, cool, my payments came in. But as I started to really cultivate more abundance, I slowed down. And what I do now, I have a little ritual where I go through each and every receipt that comes through and I sit there and I think, oh, thank you so much. I so appreciate you're sending me this money, right? To really honor their gift to me, their appreciation, and to reframe being paid instead of as collecting revenue, to really reframe it as an expression of appreciation for the work that I'm doing. And for me to feel that appreciation back to the client for sending me that money. Now, the opposite of appreciation is what my mentor, Nani Leah Diamond, who I mentioned earlier, calls poisoning the fruits. And that looks like when something like that comes in, looking at it and being like, ugh, it's not enough. Like, for example, when I do my events, I fill up my retreats, right? Well, I have a goal of how many people I want to get into each retreat. But if every time somebody signs up, I'm focused on what I don't have yet, like, oh, I have to do 7 more or 8 more, I'm only at 5 or I'm only at 7 or whatever it is, then I'm poisoning the fruits. I'm focusing on what I don't have instead of celebrating what I do have. And that's why it's so important. Every time I sign somebody up, I text my whole team, oh my God, we got another sign up for our retreat. We celebrate that progress. There's this great book. It's called Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. And one of the practices that she recommends doing for cultivating abundance is to track every single dime or penny even that comes to you and to celebrate every single one. So even if you find a penny on the street, that is free money that's coming to you that the universe has sent to you. And so you should and could celebrate it and help to elevate your abundance. I think it's a great idea. So the fourth thing that you can do to develop an abundant mindset is to drop any disempowering victim stories. Now, disempowering victim stories sound something like, it's not my fault, it's my circumstances, I'm lacking these resources, I can't because something external to you. And really the energy of I can't, right? Like I don't have the choice in whatever it is. The more disempowering victim stories you have, the more far away from abundance you are. Now I'm not going to get it deep into disempowering victim stories. I do have videos about victim and the drama triangle and all the different ways to get out of victim mindset. But right here, what I'll just say is that as you're cultivating abundance, you may want to take on a new context, a new perspective of looking at the world and looking at your life. Now, it may not immediately make sense to you, but I do promise you that if you try it on and you just give it a shot, like practice or play with this, it can make a big impact. So what you're trying on is a new way of thinking that is basically, I created this. Now, I get it. You didn't create everything. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose how you grow up. I got that. But on some level, if you can give yourself permission to say, I created this on some level. Now, there are a few levels, right? There's the conscious level. I created this because I wanted to. That doesn't usually happen with these victim stories. You've got your subconscious level. I created this because I didn't know any better, because that was the way I was programmed. Okay, but I created it, taking responsibility. And on the even deeper level, and this is the one that's more far-fetched, is on a soul level. You can have a belief, or you can try on this belief that your soul, your higher self, created this circumstance, this lack of money growing up, or parents who didn't encourage you, or whatever the scarcity story, wherever it comes from, that on a soul level, you created it so that you could have this breakthrough, so that you could have the experience of breaking through and busting through whatever that story is. So to cultivate an abundance mindset, we want to throw away any victim stories about not having choice and about being disempowered and about how our circumstances are dictating our lives. And the best way to do that is to somehow hang on to or create the belief that you created this for a reason. Maybe your soul created an experience so that you could have this learning and growth, right? Now, I know it's a little far-fetched, and for some of you it might be a bit much, but that's fine. If you just did the first three things I said, that would be enough. But if you can bust through any sort of victim mentality or mindset, that's going to supercharge your abundance mentality. Now, if you found this video helpful, know that I have a whole lot of other great videos about mindset and breaking through to new levels of success and achievement. You can check them out by subscribing to my channel or click on the playlist below. We've gathered some of my best videos there for you.